France is too kind, it welcomes too many people, but it's welcoming wolves, France. That's what it doesn't understand. It doesn't want to set up barriers, it doesn't want to set limits. You'll see, France will be an Islamic republic in a few years.
Hello everyone, I'm here at Place de la Nation in Paris, and look at what's here.
A protest against Christianophobia. So let's go check it out. Here we go. The speeches are starting. I'm not going to listen to that. We are going to listen to what real people have to say. That interests me more. That's my method, the Lapierre method. Hello, so tell me, what are you doing here?
So we're here for Ashur's Sarnaya.
It's the little rosary.
The rosary, the flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
There you go.
Which was the symbol of support for soldiers during the First World War, and which later became a symbol of Catholic unity. But that's not the point. We are here because the red line has been crossed. No doubt Ashur Sarnaya was an Assyro-Chaldean man who had fled the Islamic State in Iraq. He found the same thing he fled here in France. We've been warning about this for years. Christians are no longer safe in Europe, they're not safe in the Middle East, they're not safe in Africa. Reminder, a week ago marked 2 years since Azerbaijan took Artsakh from the Armenians. 125,000 Armenians were deported, yet no one mentions it. We're here today to make it known. Christianity was founded by our Lord Jesus Christ, who was martyred. We are called to suffer, but it's becoming too much to bear. A disabled man was killed for discussing his faith online, targeted by Islamic extremists. He escaped the Islamic State, but found the same in France. So I say clearly, Christians are no longer safe. Arm yourselves with your faith. Stop staying passive in the face of persecution. Christian brothers, France is Christian. Sacred Heart of Jesus. Hope and salvation of France. Amen.
And long live Mr. Trump.
So, what's the story here?
We're protesting against Christianophobia. 360 million Christians persecuted in 2024. 7,000 Christians killed in Nigeria in 2025 in just the first 7 months. In Congo, all over the world, in Asia, in North Korea, everywhere in the world, there are Christians who are being persecuted. Anti-Christian acts have surged for decades, leading to France's de-Christianization. And the problem is that there is no one doing anything at all. There are anti-Christian acts. There are people who burn churches, who murder priests, Father Hamill in particular, plenty of things like that. And in the end, there aren't many politicians who talk about it. For example, with Ashur, no politician has discussed it. Some media covered it, but no political party mentioned it. Mélenchon, we haven't heard from him. We haven't heard from the left, from the right, from Marine Le Pen, for example. I haven't heard her talk about it. Bardella either. It would be good if they talked about it. I know that Marion Maréchal Le Pen, she's someone who is very attached to Christianity and Christian values. She talked about it, I think. Same for Christian persecution. We don't discuss it enough, so we're demonstrating today.
Today we're in a historically Catholic country where Christians are seeking refuge after fleeing war zones and persecution. They come here seeking refuge and end up the same way they would have in their country of origin. For me, it breaks my heart.
Do you want me to blow your face out?
I take responsibility for my actions and words. I go to church and stand by what I say. I'm from Corsica. In Corsica, faith is something that's public knowledge, and I have nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to my faith. I take responsibility for it, and I always will. For us, there are a lot of young people who openly show their faith, who practice it, who live it. And some people think it's something to be ashamed of, but that's not the case at all. On the contrary, the Catholic faith has such beautiful values. In reality, it's something that shines. The word of Christ shines through us and brings peace to some people. Catholics around me are peaceful, and our circles are peaceful too. There's no hatred, there's no anger, there's only peace, there's only love. I think it brings solutions to a lot of problems.
You claim you're called to suffer as Christians, so...
We are called to suffer.
That's convenient. Right now you're getting your money's worth.
We are called to suffer, of course. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't speak out against evil when it happens.
So what do we do in the face of evil as Christians? Because Jesus suggests turning the other cheek.
Jesus says to turn the other cheek, but that's a biblical allegory, not meant literally.
All right, not in the literal sense.
Jesus also said in the gospel that he brought the sword. Jesus, of course, preaches love. Love is something we must express. We must avoid violence. But Christians are just Jesus in his Father's temple in Jerusalem. When he saw the merchants in the temple, he drove them out with a whip to the ground, but didn't whip them. The Bible doesn't say he whipped them physically. The Christian is just. The Christian loves justice, which means that the Christian who faces violence, though we are called to be persecuted, he should not stay passive. In 1095, after Christians faced persecution in the Holy Land, Pope Urban urged a crusade for a significant purpose. And today, 380 million, that's a number people don't realize. Christian brothers, wake up! Wake up! When will you see that Christians are at risk in Europe and our brothers are dying? Our brothers are dying in Syria, in Iraq, in Egypt, even in Lebanon, which was the last Christian stronghold in the Middle East. Hail Christ the King.
Are you a Christian?
Christian Catholic, yes.
And how is life for a Christian in France in 2025?
Personally, being on social media, I receive many positive comments from atheists, Christians, and Muslims. But there are also a lot of people who don't understand why we do this. For example, atheists or people on the left or fascists who always will. Antifas who want to attack Christianity and burn churches. For example, I saw a poster from the Antifas in Montpellier that said something like, "The only light that burns is a burning church." They joked about it. In this case, it's only the left that doesn't understand why we're Christian, why we keep our, let's say, conservative values.
I once naively thought France's problem was Islamophobia.
Yes, there are problems with Islamophobia, of course. There are people who are Islamophobic, just like there are people who are Christianophobic. But in this case, it should stop here, since we are in France. In France, it's a Christian country. There isn't a Muslim majority. We must oppose all forms of phobia. Islamophobia and Christianophobia are both wrong. But have there already been demonstrations against Islamophobia?
Yes, of course they did.
Did LFI do that?
Yes, they did that.
Okay, why aren't they here today? And by the way, recently there was Raphael Arnault who was at his summer university, I think. The worst scourge. Someone from LFI said the worst scourge. Right now it's Christianity.
We talk about Islamism, but actually the worst scourge today is Christianity, actually. It's the Christians who are the most powerful and who carry out the most inhumane policies. So I'd really like to know why we, as France Insoumise, we always want to hide these issues. We never talk about them. We always apologize whenever we want to bring up these issues.
Why not Islam? Why doesn't anyone criticize Judaism? Why does the left only target Christians?
How should Christians respond to persecution?
Christians should pray during persecution.
Yes, but wait, what are we going to do with prayers?
Christians should pray during persecution, but if physically attacked, they have the right to self-defense. Men like the one who attacked Ashur deserve more than prison for his vile actions. He attacked the disabled man in a wheelchair and slit his throat. Enough is enough. Love is certainly something we must preach as Christians. I'm not disagreeing, but this soft, feel-good Christianity since the 60s has killed Christianity. In France, we are a Christian land, but in truth, Christian persecution in France is nothing new. It started in 1789 when the Republic was born, and it wanted to destroy the sacred. And today, we still have these marks present. France is a country where Christ can be insulted, though it was once the Church's eldest daughter. France is not a country of weak Christians, it's a country of deeply rooted Christians. And if someone denies that, they've never opened a history book.
Honestly, I think I'm done. I took a broader perspective. There are maybe 400 or 500 people in my opinion.
Dear Vincent, hello.
How are you?
Well, listen, I'm doing very well. I'd like to take advantage of your presence for a little tribute for Ashur. There you go.
Of course it's important.
Here's a thought for Ashur. There you go. May his soul rest with the Lord, and heartfelt thoughts to his family as well. Strength and comfort. That was important. I'll also take this opportunity to talk about my presence here. It's an even broader presence of persecuted Christians from the East. Christians from the East and around the world. I would even say persecuted. And I think that in 2025 we can even see the problem arriving here in France. In any case, today in France, it's unacceptable that in 2025 people who are fleeing terror end up being murdered here for their faith because they are Christians.
The Islamic State's terror?
In the Middle East?
Yes.
So, for example, in China you have communism. That's it. In China you have communism. In Nicaragua, you know Latin America well. There too we don't have the exact numbers, but indescribable things are happening. So it's happening pretty much everywhere? Indeed, we can talk about Eastern Christians with the terror that Daesh has recently imposed in Syria. But it's really a widespread problem all over the world. So I'm here to show my support and to proclaim my faith. That's it, I'm a Christian. And to say that in 2025 we shouldn't die just because we're Christian, especially in France.
I'm an atheist and I'm here anyway.
He's an atheist. He's an atheist.
You definitely have the right.
And so does he.
You absolutely have the right. And honestly, it's nice to see atheists who are present. I tell you, but why are you here first?
The situation is terrible. Our church has burned every week in 2024.
Thank you. I had forgotten about that.
An Iraqi Christian refugee was fatally stabbed with a machete a few weeks ago. No one talks about it.
You're human, that's all.
I'm human, that's all.
Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of being human, I still am.
Mr. Ritello is more busy talking about 3 pig heads in front of mosques, actually, while in the same week a Christian was slaughtered with a machete.
I'd like to say this directly to the camera. Mr. Macron, Mr. Rotellot, all current and former ministers. You have blood on your hands, gentlemen. You have blood on your hands. Because Ashur Sarnaya is also the symbol of the rising insecurity in France. There have been others before. Lola, Matisse, Thomas, and many more. Aren't you ashamed? Aren't you ashamed? You do nothing for security. You do nothing. A man is dead. That man could have been our father, our uncle, our brother, our cousin. You have blood on your hands.
Who are you, dear sir?
Mathieu Maufroy, 19, Roman Catholic, baptized last Easter. I'm very proud of it.
As an outside observer, the media suggests France's problem is Islamophobia or anti-Semitic acts. But when you look at the numbers, actually, the first victims of anti-religious acts.
Yes, it's Christians, of course. Yes, absolutely.
There was an article about it.
There was an article?
Yes, in Le Parisien, which said that churches were being heavily desecrated, that there was a lot of vandalism, and nobody ever talks about it. I saw another article today. I wanted to post it on social media, but actually, I thought that nobody cares. When we talk about Islamophobia, people talk about it. Islamophobia, people talk about it. Islamophobia, it exists. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. But when it's about Christians, nobody cares, even though it's actually the most persecuted community in the world. In Syria, there was a church that was bombed. There's a country in Africa where they're being massacred. In France, I was in a company where there were only Muslims. They talked about Ramadan. They talked about their religion openly. As a Christian, I thought, fine, we're discussing religion. It doesn't bother me. I started to say, I celebrate Easter Christmas. When I mention my religion, my human resources manager tells me to stop. While this lady kept saying, Inshallah, mashallah. So I told her, very well. Either everyone discusses religion or no one does. There's a double standard in France. It's sad because we're still the church's eldest daughter with a 1,000-year Christian history. And as Christians, we have to be ashamed. Ashamed, we have to hide.
You have a beautiful cross of Jesus with the French flag.
Exactly. It may not be the best flag for Jesus, but I'm French and Christian.
What's it like being a Christian in France? Do you honestly feel mistreated as a Christian?
Mostly looked down upon.
But for real? No, come on, for real.
Yes, I wore my crucifix at Saint-Etienne, but they tore it off me. You see,
Who tore it off you? Be specific. Let's say things clearly.
I've only ever lived in the projects with some kids from there.
You know, Muslims.
Well, yeah, Muslims, I'm not sure.
Or pseudo-Muslims.
Pseudo,
Just thugs, really.
obviously. But that's what's happening. I arrived at Bercy at 3 a.m. just to be here today. That was all there was. That was all there was. That was all there was. I was painting my cross. I got annoyed by 2 14-year-olds at 3 in the morning in the street. I lived in Grenoble at the Arlequin. You actually couldn't go out without getting annoyed.
Yes, but not because you're Christian, because you're white.
Yes, today I'm white and Christian. We built this country, but now we're slowly being pushed out.
Oh, really?
Yes, clearly.
You say things like that?
Well, absolutely, yes.
Is France's disappearance connected to Christianity's decline?
But of course.
Oh, really?
But for years, actually, for decades, we've been dragging Christianity through the mud, promoting secularism, which is the new religion, the religion of commerce and secularism. People no longer have a parish and feel lost. With no shared values, society can't be built. I'm hopeful because our parish is seeing more baptisms. More people are coming to Christ, embracing peace and love.
My parents moved from the East over 40 years ago.
From where in the East? From Lebanon?
From Lebanon, Syria, and a bit from Palestine. I have roots throughout the Levant.
Did they flee the region?
They fled the region. At the time, it was the war against the Palestinians. You know, that's when the Palestinians came in and waged war in Lebanon. So they fled because of that. They came to France to find a bit of tranquility, some peace. This is where my siblings and I were born and raised. And it pains us to know that maybe in our turn we too will have to flee France. We tell ourselves that we especially don't want to have the same path as our parents.
Religion has become political. So there was 1789, you had the counter-revolutionaries who protected the church and the revolutionaries. I'm summarizing, of course, but the revolutionaries who wanted to bring down the church. So this confusion has remained in the media. You can see it. In the media, you can see it. When they talk about the church, they attack it. Bam, bam, bam. The priests, the stuff.
Maybe it's because Christians are weak and they're not afraid to attack.
We're scared because I am.
Attacking Islam is honestly scarier.
Of course, Charlie Hebdo, you get your throat slit. Me, I got fired from my company because I was Christian. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason. But what I mean is when I talked about being Christian with some Muslims, they didn't like it. They're not used to Christians asserting their faith.
And if I could just conclude this way, I was a little bit, maybe I even said some things that were a bit all over the place. It's because we're here precisely to express it. So, excuse me for my little outburst earlier. But actually, it's because we're tired of not being heard. And it's true that when it comes out, well, sometimes, yes, it's a bit harsh.
Passionate.
It's passionate. I'll end by saying, let's support our Christian brothers in the East and defend the Christian faith in France. And I'll finish with this phrase in Latin. Christus vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat. Christ conquers, Christ reigns, Christ rules. Amen. I want people to see who is defending Christianity. We shouldn't hide because some are ashamed to defend Christianity. We do not hide. Matthieu Moffroy, 19.
Doesn't Christianity's naive side partly explain France's current situation?
Absolutely. Always forgive everything. I nearly said forget and accept everything. Of course, turning the other cheek is fine for a while, but it's not possible anymore. It's not possible anymore. We're heading for our own downfall, actually. Clearly, that's how I experience it. That's how I experience it. And there's way too much kindness and way too much gentleness. Kindness is only true when you could be monstrous. If it's your default, it's weakness. That's what Jordan Peterson said. To offer the best, you must be capable of the worst, but we can't even defend ourselves anymore. I mean, we get attacked in the street, we get killed. That's why we're here today. It's because we're literally getting killed. So it's not okay anymore, it's not okay anymore. Especially not in the country of churches. In the center of every village, there's a church. There's not a mosque, and there's not always a town hall. Secularism may seem fine, but it didn't build France, and relying on it will lead to our downfall. We no longer have a value system or shared morality. At least it united people around a value system, and those are good values.
We're scared, but of what? I mean, you read the gospel, there's no hatred in the gospel.
Isn't that actually kind of the problem?
We're scared and so are Christians.
Maybe Catholicism is a bit too gentle for this world.
But Jesus, he's not soft. You read the gospel when he goes to the temple, when he drives out the merchants from the temple. Jesus was radical, and St. Paul was just as radical.
It's love your enemy as yourself.
Yes, but that doesn't mean...
The Sermon on the Mount is still very hippie.
Yes, but that's where we say it can only come from there. And that's a good thing. That's why I'm proud to be a Christian.
Personally, I love it.
When Jesus says, bless those who curse you and do good to those who hate you, that's not from man. Humanly, it's not possible to love your enemy.
It's very beautiful, but is it actually functional in a world precisely?
You can fight while loving your enemy. You can fight while loving your enemy. That means I can talk to someone and totally disagree with them and still love them. No? Yes, why I can. I love the person, I'm against their ideas, but I love the person. Jesus, he said it well. He also said, I did not come to bring the sword but division.
Yes, the sword, yes.
He's saying if you follow him, you'll make enemies. He's not all about peace and love. They want you to believe in a peace and love Jesus who accepts all, but that's not true.
He agreed to be crucified.
No, he is merciful. He accepted it for us, to save us. Out of love for us. I mean, there is no greater love. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't have an army behind him. And within a few centuries, all of Europe was already converted. With just 11 apostles and a man crucified, now it's very different from Islam. No disrespect to Muslims. Muhammad, he still had an army behind him. He cut
off heads.
He took up arms. It's still simpler.
Christians, they're welcome in Muslim countries, okay? But as long as we don't preach Christianity. And that's what happened with Ashur. He dared to testify about his faith, and that's why he was killed.
We're starting to see in France some of the mechanisms that actually exist in Muslim countries.
Absolutely. Me, for example, I'm Algerian. My parents, they experienced the civil war in Algeria and so on. And that's how it started. A rise in radicalism, and now we're seeing the same thing in France. So it's the same mechanism of radicalism, of hatred towards those who don't believe like us. We're seeing the same thing in France, not just with Muslims, but others too. But also political movements, etc. Everyone is becoming more and more intolerant.
I'm a legal expert. We fight for fundamental freedoms, unity and equality. All these principles come almost entirely from Christian philosophers. Consider dignity. God becoming man implies human equality, so where did dignity originate? But everything has been accomplished, yet now people want to destroy it. That's why, like, for me, in Europe, everything is being deconstructed because the element, how should I put it? Structuring, which is why Europe, Christian, not Christian, atheist, not atheist, remains Christianity.
The question I'm asking myself?
Ask me the question.
In a country that is welcoming more and more Muslims, doesn't secularism eventually start to crack?
De Gaulle said they couldn't assimilate. With all the respect he had for Muslims, he said that Muslims in a Judeo-Christian society were difficult to assimilate. Because I think that Islam, whatever people say, still tends to be about conquest, whereas Christianity. Jesus clearly says, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's. That means there is a distinction between the spiritual and the state, which I think Islam does not have.
That's the elephant in the room.
So I do think so.
Even with you, we have to pull words out.
From?
In relation to Islam?
Because I don't want to get beaten up? No, but that's the reality. I don't want to get beaten up. I talk with Muslims who have converted to Christianity, and I can tell you they're very vehement towards Islam. That's a reality.
I'm one of them.
There you go.
What do you mean, dear sir?
I was Muslim.
Oh, really?
That's very good. Keep going.
Actually, I'm of Pakistani origin. I was born in France. I've lived my whole life in France. I'm 43 years old. And actually, it was an 11-year-old child, an Ivorian, who told me about Jesus Christ. So it was in France that I received Christianity, Jesus Christ, even though I was born into a Muslim family, as I told you. And then I started to read the Quran, I started to read the Bible, and it's the message of Christ that is much higher than the message of Islam. I read both books. Most Muslims in France don't read the Quran, which is the issue, though Muslims won't agree. They call us ignorant, yet I've read both the Quran and the Bible. To Muslims calling me ignorant, I invite you to read both the Bible and the Quran.
A radical Muslim comes with a knife and wants to slit your throat because you are a Christian. So what do you do, sir?
So, indeed, that's the question we can all ask ourselves. We don't know, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea.
Martyrdom is beautiful.
No, that's not the goal. It's not about wanting to be a martyr. You're right to ask the question. It's a very important question for a Christian. But in any case, it's announced. So normally the problem is that you can't prepare for that in a structural way. You can learn math, you can learn this, but can you learn not to resist insult and war? That's an important question you're asking. I don't have the answer, but what I can tell you is that the disciples of Jesus didn't resist.
Yes, of course, I know.
Normally,
even Jesus himself did not resist.
Yes, no, but we used to say, there is Jesus. They had a model. The question is, am I capable of doing what they did? I'm referring to the disciples. Jesus isn't just a man, so that's separate. The disciples are different.
Is it? I allow myself to ask this question. Deliberately provocative?
Yes, yes.
Isn't it easier to not resist than to resist? Isn't saying let's just let ourselves the easy way out get crushed because we're Christian, right?
No.
Isn't saying we're going to revolt more complicated?
That's a question outside the Christian perspective.
Ah!
That's a question that's outside the context of faith. All right, it's not really a topic, let's say.
Oh, it's not a topic?
No. For Christians, faith in Christ is most important. The rest, it's all in God's hands.
All right then, God willing.
No! That's provocation. You're a provocateur, you are.
A bit of a provocateur, it happens. What's the main difference between these two religions? You're in a good position to answer.
So, the religion of Christ is peace. The religion of Islam is the sword, the flag of Saudi Arabia. It's written in Arabic. I didn't understand anything that's written there. There's a sword underneath that says it all. It's the country of the Prophet of Islam. There's a sword on the flag of Saudi Arabia. There's a sword. That says it all. And with Christ and regarding Christ, it's peace. He called himself the Prince of Peace and told us to turn the other cheek. Nothing is more peaceful. Today we came in honor of Ashur, but Ashur is in heaven right now. He can watch us from above. He's in heaven. Because Jesus warned us for a moment. Jesus warned us by saying, because of my name, whoever loses his life because of me, whoever loses his life because of my name, will find it. So all the Christians persecuted on earth right now, in countries like Pakistan, India, Iran, Lebanon,
the Armenians,
in Algeria, etc. All those who die tortured by the majority, the Muslims, they are in paradise right now. They are happy in paradise right now, for eternity, mind you.
You know what? I don't believe in God. I don't think Christ was the Son of God.
No, me neither.
Reading the Sermon on the Mount moves me. I take it as a treatise of ancient philosophy, and I think the guy he's preaching love in a time where people kept killing each other. I think that's great. There's greatness in Christianity.
He was a hippie before his time.
There's greatness in Christianity, but I'm afraid that the Enlightenment, humanism, and leftism are Christianity 2.0 corrupted. There's a trajectory. I see a link between Christianity and leftism, which I think explains France's current situation. Today, it's precisely because there's something in Christianity that makes people appear too weak.
Forgiveness. You can even see it here with the signs. Pray for those who persecute us honestly. We're supposed to pray for Ashur's murderer. Is that it? That makes no sense. Yes, yet that's what we see on the signs.
But forgiveness is important. Well,
Forgiveness is something grand, magnificent. But the problem is that if in a room where there are 10 of us, only 2 are like that, and if all the others aren't thinking that way, well, the 2 get crushed, actually. You have to think in relation to the overall context. Forgiveness, love, and welcoming others are great, but what if others don't act that way?
we agree.
And they're in wolf mode. Well, at some point, forgiveness turns against you. That's the problem with Catholics, in my opinion.
And I think that by driving Christianity out of France with secularism and so on in a way, we tried to emancipate ourselves a bit from all that. And in the end, we still have a Christian foundation that's within us. And with all this talk about forgiveness,
we're going to replace one religion with another. When I talk with leftists, really, they repeat their mantras. Diversity is a strength. Multiculturalism is an opportunity, really, just like a religion. When confronted with facts, they ignore them and just repeat their mantras.
So you preferred peace over the sword?
That's right.
But what is the weapon of peace against the sword?
The weapon of peace is to turn the other cheek, to pray for. Jesus prayed on the cross, yet you just spoke as if prayer were useless. But Jesus, even on the cross, prayed for his enemies. He said, Father, forgive them because they don't know. Ignorance. They don't actually know what they're doing. Those who kill Christians in Islamic countries or France act out of ignorance, not knowing they're killing good men, the light of the world, as Jesus said. And we see Muslims or others who are against Christianity, but Christianity is a religion of light. Jesus is the light of the world. He has proven himself, he has made history. We are in the year 2025 after Jesus. Jesus loved his enemies. On the cross, he prayed for them, turned his cheek, didn't hit anyone, and taught others to do the same.
Okay, all right. So I like concrete things, I'm into the practical. For example, let's say tomorrow an Islamist comes up to you with a sword.
Yes.
He wants to slit your throat. What do you do?
I speak to him about Jesus and love, then he kills me and I go to heaven.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah.
But then Jesus, you agree that Jesus, you'll see everything that Jesus said. He said it. He preached the truth, he preached love, and he preached peace. And yet he still ended up on a cross.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he still ended up on a cross. But after the cross, there is joy. After the cross, there is the joy of paradise. He ends up in paradise. And all those who have followed Christ and who have followed him faithfully, well, they will also go to paradise. But the earth is a land of suffering. We are called to persecution. We are called to be persecuted as the brother said earlier. We have been warned, Jesus warned us, I was persecuted, you will be persecuted. That's what Jesus said. I'm not surprised when a Christian dies for their faith in France today. It's the start of persecutions there. In a Christian country, an Islamist kills a Christian. In fact, France welcomes so many Muslims that it actually welcomes wolves. I'm not saying they are all wolves, but some of them are dressed as sheep, but inside they're wolves. France is too kind. It welcomes too many people, but it welcomes wolves. France. That's what it doesn't understand. It doesn't want to set up barriers. It doesn't want to set limits. Well, you'll see that in a few years, France will be an Islamic republic.
Hi, Vincent. I got you a jersey as a gift.
Oh, wow.
It's the event jersey.
What is it? Look, stop Christian persecution in English, please.
Does that make you happy?
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you. Keep up your work.
Thank you.
Jesus said, you will be persecuted, just as I was persecuted. So it's true that we still can in the end. I would say that fighting against persecution is fighting for the liberation of the persecutors. When Jesus said, Father, forgive them, they do not know what they are doing. It's in that sense that we should go.
Can you forgive those who executed Ashur since they didn't know what they were doing?
Listen to Kirk's wife, that's her name.
She forgave?
She forgave, and I came to know Christianity through examples of forgiveness from two parents who had their daughter, who had been murdered by someone who went to see him in prison, telling him that they forgave him, they were Christians. It still makes you think, if you were hypnotized to kill me, should I blame you?
I don't know if... In any case, I hope you would try to defend yourself from my attempt to...
Maybe? Yes, no, but that's after. I'm talking about what comes next.
Afterwards?
Afterwards, once you've succeeded.
If you're dead, you have no reason to hold a grudge against me anymore.
No, I'm referring to others.
Ah, okay. So if I kill your child, would you?
That's the question.
Yes, you could still blame me.
But if I notice you're hypnotized, since you can be, actually the world, whatever it is.
Yes, but hold on. We agree that only crazy people kill. Sane, normal people don't.
It depends.
So we always find excuses for those who massacre others.
That we forgive, that's the result. By forgiving over and over, we Christians, we forgive. It's true, we were taught like that, we were raised like that in the religion. Every Sunday, the priests tell us, forgive. But by forgiving over and over, that's the result, look.
Well, what does that mean?
You, ma'am, are you in favor?
Why are we persecuted now? Because they think we can do anything to Christians, they won't fight back. That's it, they're not afraid. They'd fear going to a Muslim or Jew, knowing there's something behind it. But we, the Christians, no one defends us. There's no one behind us to help us.
It's even worse. We have to turn the other cheek.
Yes, that's how it is. That's our life.
Make it easier. We have to make aggression easier.
Basically, normally, that's how it is. But at some point, we reached a point where we couldn't take it anymore. The Bible tells us to turn the other cheek, and we should because it says so.
Yes, turn the other cheek.
Yes, they tell us that.
Well, I don't want to get...
You have to stick your neck out to get your throat cut. You have to stick your neck out.
I won't comment. Some topics exist.
Our religion teaches this, but we can't do it anymore. We've reached our limit. I left Turkey. I fled Turkey because of my religion. But today I feel like France has become worse than Turkey. So what? Do I have to go back to Turkey? When I came here, my father always told me, be grateful to France. At every meal, my father would say, thank France for giving us bread. Thank France. Never do anything against France. We worked hard and did everything to be here, raising our children with those values. My children, they only speak French. I raised them just like the French. But the problem is, we feel persecuted, that's all. And it's only going to get worse and worse.
Hello, Vincent.
How are you?
I love your work, thank you.
Honestly, I love your bike.
Do you want an incredible story?
Go ahead, tell me.
Last night, I was in the 12th, right next door. I have a luxury leather workshop that I invite you to come and check out whenever you want. I make French leather goods by hand. I do everything by hand.
What's it called? Give me a little advertisement.
Atelier Castellani, Paris. I'm at 18 Rue Bafrois. I've made French luxury leather goods for 15 years.
What's your name?
Jeremy Castellani.
Jeremy.
Thank you, Vincent. I live in the 12th district. Yesterday, Saturday morning, I went downstairs and biked to work. They broke into all the storage units in our parking lot. My bike was chained to my car and they broke it. I have an AirTag on my bike and see it's in Pantin. So I grabbed my other bike and head there quickly. I spent all day there. My AirTag pinged at a building. I called the BAC and police, but they couldn't help. If it's in a building, they can't enter. I waited until 5, then gave up and went home. My wife says it's just a bike. She doesn't care, but I didn't want to give up. I bought that bike and can't let anyone steal or ride it. 9 o'clock. I noticed the tracker pinging on a nearby street. I drive to Pantin and spot my bike surrounded by 6 guys. I called the BAC. They picked me up, caught the guy, and I got my bike back. 3 o'clock, anyone would say, come on, it's just a bike, let's give up, you know. You shouldn't give up, never give up, really. You see, I didn't give up. I got my bike back after following it. It was a bit damaged, but I paid for it and got it back. It's unrelated to today's events.
Yes, it does have something to do with it. Can we get France back? Shouldn't we not give up for France too? That's kind of the message.
You should never give up. You should never let it happen. Above all, you see, it was a Frenchman who stole my bike, you see? The police report lists his name. He's a repeat offender with 22 convictions and only got a 600 euro fine, but...
He's not going to pay them.
He's clearly not paying them. I spoke to the commissioners and asked what will happen and what he'll get. He told me he's a repeat offender, he doesn't have a job, he's never going to... Well, if he can't pay, he just won't pay them, that's all. I told him, look, if I had just let it go, he'd be out there riding around Pantin on my bike right now. I didn't give up, you see. I got my bike back. I'm proud of myself for not giving up. Whether personal or professional, never give up.
Or political.
Or political. To defend France and our values, we must never give up. If we have good values and respect France, we must never give up, especially for France.
Me, I am a convert to Islam.
How did you switch from Islam to Christianity? And what is Catholic media exactly?
I say that if we had a good president, we wouldn't be in this situation today.
A radical Muslim comes toward you with a knife and clearly wants to slit your throat. What do you do?
We have no allies. We are alone facing the world.